So Lenny Henry has fronted Comic Relief for the final time, nearly 4 decades after he co-founded the charity.
Yeah, and he will be more delighted probably than anyone. Last night's show raised more than £40 million on the night towards tackling poverty in the UK and around the world.
So when he signed off, he thanked the public for its generosity over the years, and our culture reporter, Noor Nanji, was watching.
1 billion. 602,539,154 pounds.
Sir Lenny Henry revealing the total amount raised by Comic Relief over the past 39 years that he's been at the helm. And that's before including what was raised last night.
I'm actually speechless. Thank you all so much. Long may it continue, and I thank you with every ventricle of my heart. Never give up caring.
Sir Lenny Henry.
The night began with tributes to the comedy legend.
To tonight being the last time Lenny will host the show, ladies and gentlemen. It's been an amazing tour of duty.
I've got to say that you are 100% totally and utterly, am I right here when I say he's irreplaceable?
I can't get enough of your love. I can't.
The public also had their say, as they voted this their favourite Lenny moment.
I'm just lit, chatting on the phone with James Corden. What will it take for me to leave? He shows, retire the nose, faceless to leave. Sorry about that, and just to be clear, I had that planned way before Gosling did it at the Oscars.
Well, I'm backstage at Comic Relief. You can hear the show behind me. There's a lot of excitement, but this year a sense of sadness as well, that it is Sir Lenny Henry's very last time hosting the show.
And through it all, the central message wasn't lost. Raising funds to support thousands of small charities in the UK and around the world. Sir Lenny will continue his work behind the camera as life president of Comic Relief. Noor Nanji, BBC News.
So who better to give us a bit of an inside track on what it was like last night for everyone, including Lenny Henry, of course. Comic Relief Chief Executive Samir Patel is here, as well as the co-founder, Richard Curtis. Richard,
Morning.
Morning.
Go on then. Who's going to give
It's
us
a happy morning.
Yes. Well, the numbers, we just said 40 million. Is that where we are right now?
Yeah, we've gotten over 40 million. So again, it's that, we're amazed by that generosity the British public comes out every single year. So yeah, we're very happy with that.
You must have been worried because there's a cost of living crisis, and actually David Tennant was on the sofa yesterday and he was just saying, look, I get the situation at the moment. Everyone, is struggling and mindful, just grateful for anything, and yet this generosity came out again.
Yeah, it's people going above and beyond. That's the thing we always see, is everyone will come out to help other people. We see it every year. So, yeah, times are tough right now, and we're just so appreciative. This money really will go towards changing lives.
And, Richard, we'll have seen, so lots of people have seen Lenny Henry's performance last night and over the years. You've known him for a very long time, and you've been involved as long as he has. Can you give us his scale of his personality and his drive? Can you put us in a place at some point during those many, many years where it's just been him who's just gone, no, we're doing this because we can and we'll make it happen? Can you give us one of those moments?
Well, it was particularly at the beginning because we did a little stage show and then we did an 8-hour show on the BBC, and Lenny was completely central to that, to actually saying, I will take the lead. And then he went out and made the first films from abroad, and he never forgotten that passion. And the interesting thing you say about cost of living is, of course, he's got more and more sort of passionate and aware of the issues here. So that actually I can feel him really warming up when he talks about cost of living, when he talks, both mental health issues and domestic abuse went up during the pandemic. So as people get less poor, often their lives get much tougher. And he's kind of always kept the heart of it. I think if he'd been in it for the entertainment, he would have been off 20 years ago.
Do you want to talk us through how many more people we're going to get on stage every year? Because it's gone up, hasn't it? David was here yesterday saying, I don't know, is it 8, is it 10?
They're fighting for lines.
There's a lot of people on the stage last night. What's going on there?
Well, it's adorable, really. And, you know, what happens is that we've now got, because of the years, we've got a lot of people who want to come back. I think should we go up a person a year?
Yeah,
Should we
let's
do
just keep adding
9
more.
next year, 10 the next year?
Are you thinking about the floor manager? Because David was very concerned about the floor managers having to manage all these presenters.
He's a profoundly compassionate man, but no money is going to the floor managers. I want to make that absolutely clear. No, the presenters have a lot of fun. You know, it is a gang show. You have that weird thing where actually people just love being with each other. That's often been the case. When we did our little traitors sketch, you know, it's going to be the only time that Asim Chowdhury is going to be in the same room as Jonathan Bailey, is going to be in the same room as Saran Jones. So there is, you know, we have fun on Comic Relief, and I hope the public have fun, and then we use it for deeply serious things.
When we spoke to you this time last year, I said, oh, when are you going to be starting next? It's literally tomorrow. The ideas start coming.
We've already started planning some things from next year, but yeah, it takes that much to do something like this, to pull this together, to do something that happens all across the nation. So yeah,
and I suppose you have to pick up, like Traitors being such a success this year, you pick up on the kind of the things that have resonated with people and keep that and think, right, who's coming up with the ideas for the sketches?
I mean, that's always, by the way, there are about like 4 of us producers, and then we go to various comedians and say, what are you finding funny at the moment? And they do it. But, you know, the great richness of Comic Relief always is there are new cultural phenomena every year. So, you know, Lenny was parodying Barbie. So, you know, we keep an eye out what the big things of the year are, and then do sketches about it.
Now, you were showing the song, the big song, this one, and you were just explaining to us, you're a bit of a perfectionist,
yes.
I sense, Richard, and you saw something that was in its production stages and you thought, something's...
Yes, no, it was Mickey who works for me, said, I couldn't hear it all. And then that's why we got all those lovely pink graphics, just making sure that when the line comes up, you know what he's just said. No, it's... and we work, you know, right to the very end to try and make everything as, you know, funny and effective as we can.
And Richard, over the years, who is the person... There is that joy of people who maybe sometimes take themselves quite seriously, putting themselves out there to be ridiculed, frankly, or who is the one that surprised you most, who's kind of, who you think of as one thing and then has just gone, yeah, I'm up for that, for having it. Is there someone who stands out?
God, that's...
There's been a few politicians over the years, hasn't there?
There's been a few politicians, even though we have to be... careful about that. I mean, over the years, I hope that we've mocked almost everybody. You know, from Hugh Grant kissing Dawn French and right through to, as it were, having Liam Neeson being funny this year. You know, there's always... Everybody's willing. I love the ones where we've taken, like, thrillers. Do you remember we did Prime Cracker, which was Prime Suspect, and Cracker, and we did a thing on The Bodyguard, and we did a Line of Duty one. That's one of the strange things. We watched the BBC comedy schedules, but we also watched the BBC drama schedules. So I hope that there's a brutal show on next year that we can then...
There'll be something for sure. For sure. And the work, so as Nate was saying, the work starts now, so you straight away get in. And in terms of, so the people who have donated very generously, as you say, how do they know where the money goes? How do they, you know, because people like to know things like that. It matters, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, that's a big reason we tell so many stories on the night and we show the films we do, because those are projects we're actually funding and working with. And so, you know, this is all about tackling poverty at the end of the day. So we're talking about filling the shelves of food banks, you know, mental health, helping children, people dealing with conflict. So all those stories and everything we show in the show are things we're actually funding.
Yeah, I love, there was a lovely water project where we suddenly saw water arrive in a town in Somalia. So we've done that, and then we'll do it again and more.
Who decides the challenge? Because we had Sarah Davies, Vicky Patterson, Alex Jones and Laura Whitmore doing the trek, didn't we, to the Arctic Circle.
Yeah.
Who decides the challenge?
Do you know, we in that case, we talk to a TV production company and say, what's the worst thing we can do to a bunch of human beings? And they came up with that. But then sometimes it's inspired. So the Molly King one, which raised over $1 million, you know, that was really interesting. And she did that because her dad had died and she was feeling sorrow. And she thought, so she came forward, and Radio 1 came forward and said, we want to do something. And she cycled to Hull, I think, where he lived. So it's a strange old mixture, but we will try and make things difficult for people whose lives are too easy, as well as making things easy for people whose lives are too difficult.
I did.
Nice line. Have you just come up with that one? That's very good.
Very
Richard, just so people understand continuity-wise, Lenny is no longer attached to it. You are still. You are.
Yeah, no, I'm actually going to step back from a bit of the producing of it, but I'll never stop writing, you know, sketches and looking at the appeals and stuff like that. So, and very funny. I mean, Lenny, I was speaking to him last night, and he said, I've had a great idea for the beginning of next year's show. Why don't I come on? And then David drags me off and they shove me in an Uber. And I'm just watching the show saying, nah, I could have done better than that. So, you know, I think it's hard to say goodbye.
Yeah, people don't realize Richard's our founder. He joins board meetings twice a year. Lenny is our life president, so they both do a lot behind the scenes, not just about the show.
But can I just say, anybody, you know, the lines are still open. We've got bbc.co.uk/Red Nose Day. Anybody who did an event yesterday, giving some money. I think the highlight show is on tomorrow.
Richard, David Tennant did a much better version of that yesterday on the sofa.
Did he?
Yeah. We gave him the opportunity to do what
I probably wrote it, to be honest.
He thought he was improvising, but I don't know.
Samir, Richard, it's always a joy talking to you. Well done. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thanks to the public.
Have you finished now?